There's still some action ahead for NBA, smaller slate because we had some afternoon for MLK Day. Nic Claxton over 8.5 rebounds. Why?
Yeah, this is a spot where the Nets are going to be down a couple of guys, notably Igor Demon, the point guard. You have Cam Thomas, who's going to sit tonight. And then Duran Sharp is out, the backup center, who's been getting quite a bit of usage off the bench recently. And honestly,
I
I kind
covered
of
him in high school when I worked in North
really
Carolina. I have a
nice.
picture with Duran. I actually have his phone number from his high school days. It's probably a different number now, but it's just so funny because he was recruited by Roy Williams, and we were at his high school basketball game when he was a junior, and Roy walks in with his wife. I'm like, oh, he's
Wow.
legit.
Uh-huh.
Continue.
Yeah, so he's been kind of outperforming Claxton as of recently, and he's out tonight. So I think this is a good opportunity to get in on the action for the rebounding spot. We know that the Suns have allowed the second most rebounds to centers over their past 7 games. They've been just giving up a lot of rebounds to big men in general. And this is one where I think you just trust the DVP. And on top of that, this is like one of the better spots to get Nic Claxton playing 25 plus minutes, where that's been kind of up and down recently.
Yeah, you've got the Nets at home tonight catching 9 against the Phoenix Suns. The Pacers are catching 6 on the road at the 76ers. It's always a crapshoot with these Pacers as to which one we're going to go for, which one we're going to do. Who's going to be the play of the day? Because Siakam, his numbers now kind of regulated, especially if Matherin's out. We can't take advantage of that edge anymore. How come you're going Nesmith?
Yep. Yeah, this is just a spot where the 76ers have been one of the worst teams in general to the shooting guard position just over the entire year. So whatever sample size you look at, it's really, really poor numbers. And I do think that isn't like a 100 to 100 translation when it comes to what Aaron Nesmith does. But as of right now, he's technically this team's 2/3 with Matherin out, right? And so that's kind of where I want to look at this. We also know that this is a spot where I do think that he's just going to have to, he's just going to have to play just an incredible amount of minutes. So if you look at him as a shooting guard, it lines up well. And if you look at Props.cash historical data, the 76ers are one of the worst teams against small forwards over their past 10 games. They've allowed 70% of small forwards to hit their markets. So however you look at it, I think there's a kind of a weird way to it's been difficult from a DVP perspective because there are so many hybrid players, and I do think it's just one where you kind of lean into the Nemhard stuff today.
You're going to get Sean Michael all giddy that you're talking about his Detroit Pistons. I don't know if he'll like your plays or not because he tends to be a little bit harsh on people that talk about his Detroit teams. But let's see what Sean has to say. Pistons laying 3 at home against the Celtics, total 223.5. You've got the play on Cunningham and the play it on Duren. Why?
Yeah, this is a spot where the Celtics have been allowing a ton of above the break stuff. We'll get there when we talk about Cade. But in terms of Duren, they are just defending the center, but they're just letting centers kind of just score all over them recently. So I'm going to take advantage of that with the Duren stuff. It's a really, really bad rebounding stuff. So I wouldn't go points, rebounds. I would go just points for Duren. I know Detroit's been tough to cap recently because they've been one of the healthiest teams in the NBA, and they also have the ability to blow out teams any given night. And you kind of just saw that happen. So it's not going to look good from like any app. Obviously, we love Props.cash, and it's not going to look good in terms of that because there's a lot of red all over the place. But this is a spot where I'm just believing that I do think that this game, number one, stays close, and number two, Duren can get there from a points angle. In terms of the Cade stuff, the Boston Celtics have allowed the most assists to point guards on the year as well as over their last 7 games, and that's a direct correlation to how many above the break threes they've been giving up. They are just as bad as the Utah Jazz and the Cleveland Cavaliers as of recent in terms of how many shots they allow from three-point range. And I do think that is interesting on many degrees, but it does make that a really easy correlation for Cade. You can kind of imagine him getting their double-digit assists in that kind of situation. So I know Detroit just smashed in their last matchup and everybody fell short, but I'm pretty confident given the spread that this is one where they'll play a full allotment of minutes.
The last game of the night's really interesting. Golden State Warriors, they're at home tonight, laying 5.5 against the Miami Heat. You're going the Steph Curry route, but how come you're not going the Jimmy Butler revenge route?
Yeah, we saw It was a really poor sample, obviously, but we saw one game back in March of 2025 near the end of the regular season where they went into Miami and Jimmy Butler kind of laid an egg in that matchup. I still think it's a good one for Butler. Like he's got a good paint scoring spot, but I do think this is one where you kind of get a little bit of everything for Steph here. You have a good spot for above the break threes in general for Steph, who's obviously a top 5 guy there. You have him kind of already coming in pretty hot on an assist angle. He's dished out 5 assists in 8 straight games. And you get a good rebounding spot on paper too. This is the biggest pace up spot for any team on the night card, as Miami obviously runs at the fastest pace in the NBA. We know this already, and we know that leads to more peripheral assists and peripheral rebound opportunities for him. So I think that Steph is in a very, very good spot. We've seen Miami just struggle against scoring point guards all year.
We had a question in the chat from King KT. Pods over or under 4.5 rebounds against Miami?
Yeah, I like the pod spot too. Not only is the Steph rebounding spot too good, it's a spot where Miami's just been a bottom 5 team in terms of allowing rebounds to guards. You also have to factor in that D'Anthony Melton is out. The hustle guy, Luis Santos, is out as well. And on top of that, I'm not sure if we get Draymond tonight. He was probable coming in, and he got tagged with a questionable downgrade about an hour ago. So that's never a good sign, especially in a spot like this.
Joseph Rodriguez brought up how there's no Tyler Herro tonight for Miami. He was saying Triple J overs. How would you take advantage of the Heat without Tyler Herro?
Yeah, scary injury. It's like a rib cartilage thing, and he's out for the foreseeable future. So I don't know if we see him again this year, which is not good. I think the way, so he's talking about what do we do with Miami guys? What's the question?
Well, how are we going to handle no Herro?
Davion Mitchell is probable, so I expect him to play. Jaime Jaquez as well. So I do think we'll see Davion Mitchell slide back into the starting 5. It doesn't seem like Miami wants to play Khalil Ware and Bam together. And there's been some weird.
Thank God.
There's been some weird Ware comments about Eric Spoelstra too, so monitor that. But yeah, I do think Davion's going to play. It's not a great spot by any means, but we know that this is a good assist spot whenever Tyler Herro's out. Let me actually do this because I
literally couldn't be more pissed, and you can do it and I'll rant. I couldn't be more pissed about the Khalil Ware situation. Bam Adebayo was such a great center to attack in games that were good for centers. Now, freaking Khalil Ware, who literally sucks at everything else except sometimes he steals rebounds from Bam Adebayo, it really pisses me off.
It's been weird to, because again, that's where like the weird.
It was like Bam was power forward and Ware was the center, but that didn't work. So now we have to go back to Bam being the center, but he's still sometimes the power forward. Like, no, Bam's the better player. It's like the Mitchell Robinson crap. Like, enough.
7+ assists for Davion in 54% of games without Herro this year. That's obviously very strong sample. He's hit 6 in 75% of games. So this one's lined up pretty dang accurately. But when filtering by the road situation, that gives me a little bit more confidence. Mitchell, 7 assists in 11 of 14 road games without Tyler Herro this year. So yeah, and then you look at DVP. Pull that up really quick on my end. Last 7 Golden State assists, not great. They're allowing the 7th fewest to point guards. I can believe in the road stuff without Herro. I also I hope that they slide Davion and don't go with the Khalil Ware experiment again because it didn't really work out to start the year. No. I would assume that would be the case where they just put Davion in there 1-for-1, but the DVP doesn't really add up. I'd probably stay away from him tonight.